Hey guys, filming another video answering your questions because I've gotten a lot of them and it's raining out right now, but I still have some natural light and I'm hoping by the time I'm done this video we'll have cleared off and I can go for my run because it's kind of cold out. I don't want to run in the rain today. Yeah, I've assembled all the questions this time. It's like into a document, like I copied and pasted them. So I'm hoping that this time I don't say do like a million times. But if you're ever, deeply in need of a really great Rachel D drinking game, you can just go back and watch my other video. And every time I say do, you take a shot, and then 16 minutes tops, and I bet you're like 3 sheets to the wind. Okay, so I've put I got a lot of Hawaii questions, so I put them all first. So yeah. Aloha, beautiful Rachel. How do you edit your pictures? What filter do you use? Sorry if you answered this before. I took a lot of my Hawaii pictures on my iPhone 6. I like to edit them with VSCO is a good one. I don't buy any of the presets. It's just all the free filters. And Snapseed is another one. Oh, and on Instagram to add like the white bars on each photo, I use Afterlight. What are the best beaches for shells in Hawaii? Shelling is really hard in Hawaii because they very rarely like just wash up on the beach. There was one little beach that I was at this time where I found the picture that I took with all the sea glass, and that was near the Tongs beach access, if you're familiar with that, which is near Waikiki. And even that was just like there was one cone shell, which was very rare to find. And most of the time, if you want to find shells on Oahu, at least, you have to go free diving. So like with snorkels and masks and fins. And we found that a lot of the shells that I found last summer were from the west side of the island. Yokohama was like a really beautiful little spot, and found some shells there. Is surfing hard? Yes. Not so much standing up. People think that like being on the board is the hard part, and like it is, but if you have decent balance, like that's something that you can grasp pretty quickly. You need to be in really good physical shape for surfing, like better than people expect. Like going out at Waikiki when they like push you into waves, like that's easy. The hardest part is standing up on the wave. But if you're actually going out by yourself, you need to be like not only cardio fit, but like shoulders fit for paddling, because you need to be able to paddle past the waves and get out far enough, and then like the second you go for one, you're going to go in, so you have to go paddle out again. So the most frustrating part is like I feel like, well, I know how to surf, but like usually by the time I'm back in Hawaii I haven't been paddling, and so I am out of that kind of shape, and so it's really hard to get back into it fast enough to actually be able to surf while I'm there. So yeah, the short answer would be yes, surfing is hard. What's your favorite fruit to eat in Hawaii? I got really into lychees this time around. I really, really love lychees. They're like in like the pink shell, and you like bite it, and then you peel it off, and you eat the inside, and then you spit out the pit. Lilikoi, anything, and apple bananas, like the really little bananas. I'm not like a big banana person. Like I'm not the type to just peel a giant banana and just eat it. I get sick of it like 2 bites in. I like juicy fruit, but I love those little apple bananas. Do you tan or burn? I tan very easily and very quickly. My dad is fair skinned, blonde eyes, used to have blonde hair when he was younger, and my mom is dark, like olive skinned, green eyes, dark hair, and so I think from that I don't really burn super easily. Even if I'm wearing like SPF 70, I will just tan, which is nice. Is your boyfriend from Hawaii? Yes, born and raised. He moved to Montreal for school for his undergrad, and that's where we met. He actually went to Obama's high school. Fun fact. How do you pronounce pokey? I pronounce it pokey. I know that like in the Hawaiian language, the E sound is pronounced A. And so I guess the technically correct way is poke, but I've heard locals say both, so I think it's whichever you prefer. I don't like to say poke because I feel like I'm about to say Pokemon, and then I feel like I'm 12, so I just say pokey. Um, Hi Rachel, what are your fave flip-flop sandals to wear in Hawaii? Do you have rainbows, and if so, thoughts? Usually we just like kick around in locals, which are like the plastic ones that you buy at the Long's drugstore. They're like $5.99, and I've had like maybe 3 or 4 pairs over the years. And then this trip, my boyfriend got us island slippers, which are like fancy slippers. And we love those. They're like leather. They're really nice. But I've never had rainbows. Just not experienced with them, but I've seen them around. They're nice, but most people you see walking around, like going to the beach and stuff, you just wear like plastic flip-flops or slippers. Call them flip-flops here. I was wondering how you first discovered your love of Hawaii because it's so clear your heart belongs there. Thank you. Would you love to travel there and explore? Would love to travel there and explore, but a little unsure how to go about it and get the best experience as yours seem to be. I was one of those, like, I don't want to sound like Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise and be like, I loved it as a child and then this like serendipitously happened. But that's pretty much how it was. I was obsessed with Hawaii as a kid because I was obsessed with sea turtles. I was like, like grade 3, all the kids were like into dolphins and horses, and I was like, I want everything with sea turtles on it. And so like I had seen a lot of documentaries, and so that was what I had like in my mind, and Lilo and Stitch. The first time I went to Hawaii, I was like, it's just like Lilo and Stitch. So yeah, it was basically Dylan and I met, and then very like at the end of that year, he invited me to come visit him when he went home for the summer. And as soon as I told my parents, they were like, you gotta go. And so I went, and up until that point, they were the best 10 days of my life. Like those first 10 days that I spent in Hawaii, I was just like, I'm in the motherland. Like this is where I belong. And so it's been my soul place just forever. In terms of getting the best experience, I get asked this a lot, and I wish I had a better like answer. But I've never really had like a touristy experience there, just because of the nature of being there with my boyfriend, being there with someone who's local, who knows places, who lives there essentially. So like, if you want to ask me specific questions in terms of like the area you're going to be in, do you have access to a car? Like how many days do you have to spend? What kind of things you're looking to do? I can definitely try and give you some recommendations of my favorite places. But in terms of just like a broad experience, I don't know how to like recommend it without like those kind of factors playing in, because like we've always had access to a car, and we've always like, we know when things are going to be busy or when they're not going to be busy, and we know which beaches are popular. And so, if you see, I get a lot of questions because a lot of the beach pictures I post were like the only ones there, and like that's not something that you would normally see if you didn't really know where to go or you didn't have someone telling you where you should go. But I will happily help you if you give me the details. And yeah, San Lorenzo has some different style tops and bottoms. Any you really prefer or recommend? How do they do it staying put during surfing, kayaking, ocean living activities? And do the colors and prints fade much? I really love the little sport top that I have. I think it's called their sport top. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's got like a crisscross in the back, and it's like a sports bra style. That stays on. That's like my like surfing top. And I bought it for that purpose. And I love it. You can wear it like a bralette. It's a really soft material. It's not like a swimsuit material. Their bottoms, like the teeny tiny like thong style bottoms, do not stay on. They're terrible for like surfing and stuff because they stay on fine on the hips, but the middle part is very thin. Just like throwing that out there. I love them for laying on the beach and stuff because they're super pretty and gorgeous. But for surfing, I prefer more like solid, not solid, but just like, like more heavy duty ones because they're very flimsy. That said, the colors have stayed really nicely, and I would highly recommend them for that. But I think they're more the like, especially the bandeau one, like the set that I have, not really like sport oriented. They're more for just like laying on the beach and stuff. Yeah, so I'd recommend the surf one or the sport one. one thing you've learned about life and yourself in the past few years. Just, it's really important to love yourself, because if you are, even if there's like just this one part of you that you're kind of waiting for validation for, like whether or not it's like, if you're finding yourself disappointed because someone is not noticing something in particular about you, like if you wish that your friends like complimented your clothing, or you wish your boyfriend like complimented your hair or something, realizing that you need to find that validation from yourself, and just realize that nobody cares about those kinds of things as much as you do, and find that validation for yourself and just do you and enjoy it. People love that. Like it overall just makes you more likely to be the kind of person that they would respond well to, and it just makes you feel so much better. So I guess, I don't see, the problem is that I ramble and I forget what I already said. You just gotta have a lot of it come from within and not rely on other people to give you validation, because you are the only validation that you need. And also realizing that most people are, just not going to, I don't know, you don't need that validation from someone, because if you're constantly looking for it from someone else, they're always going to let you down. Whereas if you have it from yourself, anything that they give you is just a bonus. It's just like icing on top of the cake. It's not filling you up because you're empty. It's just putting more on top of a full cup. I'm trying to not speak in metaphors, but you know what I mean? Because it's more than you need, and it feels that much better. It feels so much better when you get more than you need instead of relying on someone to sustain you. I hope that made some sense. I have no idea how long I talked for that for. Maybe 2 minutes? Oh, God. How is grad school different than undergrad? I'm starting grad school in Boston for SLP in the fall. Congratulations! Oh, man, that's amazing. Grad school is, for at least for my clinical degree, is focused. Like, I know what I'm doing when I come out of it. There's no, like, next step afterwards in terms of like education. It's like, we're going to prepare you to do this job that you've chosen. So I love that. I love the professional degree. They don't coddle you, but that, I didn't get coddled in undergrad, but it's like, you got to do it for you. You got to do it because you want to be a good clinician. You don't do it for the grades or for the accolades. You do it because you want to be somebody who is qualified to help somebody else. So I think that's the main difference. In undergrad, it's just like, it's a stepping stone, whereas grad school is, the island. If you're jumping from stone to stone. I don't know. Any tips for transitioning away from wearing makeup? Yeah, get used to your face without it, and that's the biggest hump. Because the first few days that you stop wearing makeup, you're going to notice a difference, because you're used to having like two versions of your face. You're used to having like your day face and then your night face when you like take off all your makeup and you're like, wow, I look different, because you do look different. If you give it a couple weeks, couple months, eventually you forget that there's this different version of your face that looks a different way. And for me, I just liked this one better. Like, it was so much less work. And so, yeah, that's my biggest tip. You just gotta give it time. And in that time, try and remember that, like, no one notices as much as you do. This is true for most things in life. That's the take-home message here. No one notices as much as you do anything. Is the work you speak of recently related to SLT, speech language therapy, or Roots? Also, what do you do as a warm-up for running? Okay, those are 3 different questions. No, I'm working in retail at Roots. I don't do, between these semesters, I don't do anything speech language pathology related. That starts up again in the fall. For a warm-up, I usually, the sun's coming out. I might get my run in today. I usually will run for like a mile or so, and then I will do some dynamic stretches, like once my heart rate's up, like leg swings and stuff like that, shaking it out, and then that's about it. I do a nice cool down when I'm done, What are your favorite TV shows? Okay. Grey's Anatomy, Die Hard, since, God, 2009, whenever it started. Um, oh man, I didn't think I'd draw a blank that quickly. Walking Dead. I loved Breaking Bad when it was on. What else? Oh man, now that they've all ended, I forget them all. Friends, of course. I can watch. I've lost count. It really shocks me how many times I can watch a single episode of Friends. Um, The Office when it was on. Parks and Rec when it was on. All of these are like gone now. I feel so old. I need new shows. And what else? Oh, I watched Teen Mom. Owning it. There are no guilty pleasures. Except maybe that one. No, it's good. It's good. Although I can't watch Farrah. I just can't. And actually, I don't really watch Amber either. I kind of like fast forward through them. Like, I'll just like click ahead. But, you know. Hi, Rachel. I don't know why, but I'm curious to know if you weigh yourself regularly or ever. I love your blog and post your health and stuff. I have a scale. I don't use it. I know how much I weigh on any given like day, just because it hasn't really changed in like 2 years. But it's like my height. Like, to me, it's just a benign number. It doesn't do anything to me. I think it's my scale's like in a closet now. But no, I guess. I studied SLP in undergrad. I was denied from most grad schools. I'm still waiting to hear from one more. Recommendations for getting in. 3.5, good references, past experience. They reject so many good applicants every year. Like, it's just really competitive. And it has a lot to do with whatever cycle you're applying in, and a lot of luck, honestly. I was speaking with one of my professors who was talking about, like, applications and stuff, and when they were admitting people for this year, and a lot of it's just luck, and they look at people who have applied several times in a row because a lot of good applicants are rejected time and time again. And so one of the only things that can really put you into the like top 5%, like more likely to get in, is having been rejected in the past. Just because that happens so much. So it's not you. It's just the nature of the program, and it's competitive because it's a professional degree. People, if you look at the stats, the places in each program are so small, and you're getting 400 applicants for, 25, 30 spots, and those are terrible odds no matter how you look at them. Even though it's not a super, like, well-known field, you don't know what a SLP is until you really need one, in my experience. But there's not really a whole lot you can do. It's kind of just a mixed bag. You gotta just keep going until you get in. And that was one of the most greatest learning experiences of my life, is that things for me weren't not necessarily easy, but when I worked hard to do things, I usually had a positive outcome, and I worked really hard, and I applied, and I didn't get in. And I had a lot of external forces telling me that I should just find something else, not wait around for 2 years and do a bunch of filler stuff to try and get in again. But I didn't listen to them, because this is what I wanted to do, and if that's what you want to do, you'll get there. That's the end of the day thing. You just gotta want it, and you gotta work hard, and you gotta apply again and again and again, and tell them that. What island are you planning on moving to? It'll be Oahu, if/when. Balancing grad school and a part-time job. Just do what you can. It's hard. You gotta want to do it, and you've got to be okay with not having, or being really effective with your time. To help the grad school application process, yes, take the GRE early. Start working on your applications early. Find references that know you well. Prepare for that years in advance, like at least 2 years before, I would say. Start laying down the groundwork. And yeah, research helps because you usually get a supervisor, and the supervisor will know you well, and then I think that's all I can think of off the top of my head. Where do you like to study? Do you study best when you're comfortably at home, or when or are you more of a library, coffee shop person? I study better at home, just because I like to kind of set up my space and be able to like spread out as much as I like, and I like to have access to like my teas. But I also like to study with people because I find that when I say stuff out loud and when I'm able to like articulate what I know, it kind of solidifies it for me in my mind. But I'm very specific with who I like to study with. And I also need to prepare in advance before I study with other people, because if I feel like I'm the one who's like the least knowledgeable in the group about the topic, I'll like get stressed out and just overwhelmed. And so I like to prepare and study in advance by myself, then study with people, usually at like a library or something, like talk through everything, and then go home and like go over the stuff that I felt like I needed to go over again by myself. Yeah. And that's all. 21 minutes. So close. But the sun came out, so this was effective. I'm trying to like get in the light. I think that was all of the questions. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this 20-minute, man. Instead of watching this, you could be watching an episode of Friends in this amount of time. Go watch some Friends right now. Bye, guys.